What's quietly unfolding in Shanghai? Today, I want to slow down and look, carefully, at a city that once stood as a billboard for China's rise, Shanghai. And I'm not asking you to walk away from this with a shallow takeaway like, the economy is bad, or real estate is struggling. Those lines are too small for what's happening. Because the shift in Shanghai isn't just a dip in business activity. It feels more like a structural change, a transformation happening underneath the surface, where the foundations don't crack loudly at first. They simply weaken. And then, one day, you realize the entire normal you once recognized is gone. This time, we're not relying on polished government statistics or official narratives designed to look tidy and controlled. We're looking at what people on the ground are showing, ordinary residents filming daily life on their phones, posting short videos, writing blunt sentences on social media. Fragments. Unfiltered snapshots. The kind of information that doesn't fit neatly into a press release. Because it's often those fragments, not the big numbers, that reveal the real temperature of a society. A city where people seem to have vanished. Start with the street scene. Think about Nanjing Road on a weekend, just a few years ago. It was so crowded that walking in a straight line felt impossible. The air was thick with body heat, noise, light, movement, Shanghai's signature energy. Think about Lujiazui, those futuristic towers that symbolized finance, ambition, and momentum. A skyline built to announce, China is here, and it's not slowing down. Now listen to what locals are saying. You could throw a cane and still not hit anyone. That's not a poetic exaggeration. It's the closest language people have for a reality that feels surreal. The city still exists, but the human density is gone. Tourist hotspots that once featured signature lines and endless queues now look strangely empty. Stores remain open, signs still glow, but foot traffic has thinned into something unfamiliar. And that emptiness isn't random. It's a visible symptom of economic damage that has become impossible to hide. The early return home rush that started in December. So where did the people go? The most direct answer is also the most telling. The workers who came from other provinces to earn a living in Shanghai are leaving, fast. And there's a moment that captures it perfectly, videos filmed at Shanghai's major railway stations in December, months before Lunar New Year, when the usual travel surge should happen. Yet the halls are packed with people dragging oversized suitcases. These aren't tourists. They're not visiting. They're leaving. And the reason is brutally simple. The work is gone. Factories saw orders collapse. Production slowed, then stopped. Some facilities shut down quietly. For those workers, Shanghai is expensive even when things are good. When income disappears, staying becomes impossible. So the flow reverses. The very population that once powered the city's everyday economy, renting rooms, buying food, keeping small businesses alive, vanishes almost overnight. The first to collapse, food and small business. When people disappear, the first sector to scream is restaurants. And in Shanghai, the stories are stark. People describe a situation where 70 to 80% of newly opened restaurants fail quickly, as if the market now assumes failure is the default. One story says an Indian restaurant opened in the morning, had no customers, and decided to close that same night. Another, a shop that earned 800 yuan in 5 days, about 16,000 yen in Japanese terms, barely enough to cover utilities. It shut within a week. This isn't about bad management. It's what happens when the market itself is hollowing out. When non-essentials get cut to zero. But it doesn't stop at food. Closures are being reported across categories: cat cafes, interior decoration, retail, children's art classes, wedding services, real estate agencies, even legal and consulting services. The common thread is clear. Anything not essential for survival is being eliminated. When people lose confidence in the future, spending doesn't decline. It contracts, hard. It becomes defensive. People seal their wallets and treat every purchase as a risk. Even in beauty services, high-end treatments fade away, replaced by the cheapest option available. A society doesn't need to announce austerity for austerity to arrive. It shows up in the way people stop buying joy. The image that says everything: energetic seniors, silent youth. There's an image that keeps resurfacing because it captures the new Shanghai in one frame. In the daytime, cafes are filled not with young professionals, not with middle-aged workers taking breaks, but with retired seniors. They sit calmly, drink coffee, snack on seeds, enjoy the sun. Meanwhile, the working age groups, middle-aged adults and young people, feel oddly absent. One online comment summarizes it with a line that hits like a diagnosis. Shanghai is now full of energetic seniors, shrinking middle-aged adults, and silent youth. A society's engine is supposed to be its working generations. When that engine loses its voice, the whole system starts to feel weightless. The unemployment that doesn't exist in the statistics. Officially, Shanghai's unemployment rate might be reported around 4.2%. On paper, that doesn't look catastrophic. But on the ground, a bitter phrase circulates. In Shanghai today, you don't even qualify to be unemployed. Why? Because the definition of unemployed can be narrow and conditional. If you don't have the right urban household registration, you may not count. If you haven't paid into social insurance long enough, you may not count. If you quit voluntarily, you may not count. If you do any short-term gig work, you may be classified as flexibly employed, even if you're barely surviving. So the people who are struggling most intensely can vanish statistically, just like they vanish from the streets. That gap between official numbers and lived reality is not a technical detail. It's the core of the crisis. The personal collapse behind the public silence. The stories people share are often simple and devastating. A man says he carries a mortgage equivalent to 44 million yen, but now earns only 46,000 yen a month. He can't afford a toy his child asks for. His life has become pure arithmetic: debt, food, rent, humiliation. Another man, older than 35, describes being told in a job interview. That job? New graduates would do it as an unpaid internship. Why should we pay you? Experience is no longer valued. Age becomes a liability. And the message isn't just economic, it's moral: you are replaceable, and you should be grateful to exist. A subway moment that revealed the underground mood. Then there's the incident in the Shanghai. A senior woman reportedly stood up and shouted anti-regime slogans. What matters isn't the act alone, it's the reaction online. Instead of condemnation, the video drew waves of support. No one reported her. Everyone was thinking the same thing. She said what we can't say. In a society trained to keep emotions private, moments like that are less like news, and more like cracks, brief openings where suppressed anger becomes visible. The bigger threat. Demographics as a time bomb. And beyond jobs and consumption, there is a deeper force pressing down on everything. Population decline. Economic insecurity kills marriage. Marriage decline kills birth rates. And shrinking birth rates reshape the country's future faster than any policy speech can. Some projections circulating online claim China's population could fall dramatically by mid-century, numbers so large they would change the shape of the state itself. And here's the brutal question that follows. If the population shrinks, who will buy the homes? Real estate can't survive on slogans. A market built on endless demand collapses when demand becomes mathematically impossible. Closing thought. What Shanghai is showing us isn't just a city struggling. It is the visible stress of a model hitting its limits. Growth slowing, labor flows reversing, consumer confidence collapsing, and the next generation losing faith. A society where youth falls silent, middle age retreats, and only the elderly speak out. And the question this raises isn't only about China. It's a question many societies may face. When the generations meant to carry the future stop believing in it, where does a country go next?